Hi guys, guess where we are?
We're recording episode 13 on location from the Baltimore Harbor.
This week's theme is about family.
These are the people that we feel connected with, whether they're biologically related to us or not.
And of course, we feel connected to our Belmont. But we thought we would give you some insights into the people that have inspired us and sent us on our mission.
Our guest this week is Morgan Alexa.
Yes, when this little girl first came to Melilani with her family, we knew she was destined for greatness.
She was a powerful musician from the beginning, and she always impressed us.
And of course, we'll have to hear from George over at the Melilani Cafe.
Yes, and I know we're planning some really exciting things as we emerge safely from the pandemic.
So if you're ready, let's get started with
The Rusty and Jen Show.
When the world comes crashing down on us, they're always there, and they're always happy company because they care. Oh, yes, they care. And when you need to take out pain, well, no one else will do. Dial the phone or go on Zoom. Thank God there are friends like you. I said, thank God there are friends like you. Well, Jan and I were very fortunate to have parents who encouraged music in our lives. This is a song that I wrote many years ago called Thank You, Mom and Dad. When times got rough, you showed your love. Thank you, Mom and Dad. When bad dreams came late at night, you made the world alright. Thank you, Mom and Dad. When I thought no one could reach me, you would turn to me and teach me all the dreams and love you shared through years of tears. Now that I've become a man, thank you for the helping hand. Thank you, Mom and Dad. And now it's time for Giggin' with Jan.
Welcome to Going Out with Rusty and Jan.
We have an exciting lineup of guests for the upcoming weeks on the Rusty and Jan Show. On May the 3rd, we are pleased to present Marsha Lowe.
Oh, yeah. Then on May 10th, we will talk to Lisa Jeanette about her new album, Jellyfish on the Moon. Oh, it's a good album.
Oh,
We
it's
listen to it all the time.
We love it.
Yeah.
And then on May the 17th, we'll feature Joe Adams all the way from sunny California.
Aha. Jan, why don't you tell us about the news from our community?
Okay. Venues are reopening everywhere as more people are becoming vaccinated. Melanie Cafe is continuing to have outdoor performances. And of course, as always, please contact me if you're interested in scheduling something. The Ted Jordan Trio will be featured on May the 1st from 2 to 5. And then on May the 2nd, Juliana and Tom Cooney will share the stage from 2 to 5. These should be some great shows, so make sure that you go out and support them and have some of George's delicious food. We're hoping to begin to have the open mic in person again over the next few weeks, and we're still working out those details, so stay tuned. There will likely still be a virtual component so that we can include those who live far and for those who are not comfortable in meeting in person right now.
Yeah, we're trying to get back out there, so.
Rusty and I had the honor of playing at the Cosmic Cafe this Sunday. The weather cooperated, and it was a lovely afternoon. And we wanted to thank Kitty Campbell, Kathy Sullivan, Melanie Jones, and of course, Walter the dog for stopping by. While we were there, we learned of an open mic hosted by Emmett Gruding on the first Friday starting in May. I think Rusty and I are going to check it out next week. Sign up starts at 5:30 and the music begins at 6.
Here's the latest on this season's festivals. The first is the Philadelphia Folk Song Society's Spring Thing, which will be held on May 28th through 31st. Details can be found on pfs.org.
Oh, yes. I just registered the other day. Rusty and I are going to be there.
Absolutely. We never miss Spring Thing or Fall Fling. And the Philadelphia Folk Fest will also take place on August 19th through the 22nd. As we understand it, it's set as a virtual event, but there are rumors that it possibly might still happen in person, depending on the Board of Health's COVID restrictions. We'll keep you in the loop about that as soon as we find out for sure. In the meantime, visit pfs.org for all the latest news. We're extremely pleased to announce that X-Fest will be a live event. It will take place September 17th and 18th at the Country Creek Winery. For more information, visit xfsmusic.org. And speaking of live events, it looks like the Philadelphia Folk Song Society's Fall Fling is actually going to happen on October 1st and 3rd as a live event. We'll share a cabin. They'll have limited attendance to adhere to the Montgomery County Board of Health protocol, so don't delay. Get your tickets at pfs.org. Now it's time to see what George is cooking up at the Melanie Cafe this week. It's time for George's Corner.
And now it's time for Rusty's Senior Moment.
realized by now that this week's segment is all about family. But it's important to recognize that what we're really talking about is community, such as what we have at the Melalani Cafe and the people who support it, as well as our biological family who also provide love and support. My dad was very supportive, but he also provided me the musical example that I needed to follow. As we know, kids do as they see, not as they're told. He sang constantly. He would sing in the supermarket, and people would, he'd stop for some reason, and people would say, keep on going, keep on going. He didn't even realize he was singing. It's just the way he lived his life. He was president of the Cherry Hill chapter for our barbershop chorus, and as a senior, he sang at nursing homes with a group called the Jolly Jets.
Like Rusty's father, my dad was also musical. He had no formal training, but he was blessed with a great ear and the ability to pick out any melody he heard and play it back on either harmonica or keyboard. Like Rusty's dad, he was always singing or whistling. He played spoons too, and he was the best I've ever seen.
Oh, yes, I saw a video of him once, and I was amazed. In short, our lives have been filled with music, and our path to performing was much more of a continuation of what we'd already been learning and experiencing.
Our mothers, sadly, could not sing, but they tried, and they loved music, and they provided us with the nurturing needed to pursue our dreams.
But we also have the other family. You can call them Melalaniites. You can also call them folk festers and other musically inclined characters that bring richness to our lives.
Absolutely. The support that we receive from all of you also nurtures us and encourages us as well to follow our dreams.
We would really be lost without you. The virtual experiences we've had over the past year really sustained us. And I don't know what we would have done or how we would have survived without it.
Yep. And I guess what we're really saying is if you're lucky enough to have a supportive family around you, make sure that you thank them, whether they're biologically related to them or not.
And the other thing is that we should really think about the people we meet in our daily lives, and we should be reaching out to them because we understand what loneliness is like from many of the people who've had to experience it. The family of this week's guest have been a major supporter of us at the Melalani Cafe. We are so pleased to have the opportunity to interview Morgan Alexa. This is how it went. Well, we at the Melalani Cafe pride ourselves in being an all-inclusive venue. We have the very old, and sometimes we get the very young. Like this lady who came to us when she was 11 years old. We're so happy to have Morgan Alexa on episode number
13.
Well, I'm the unlucky one.
How you doing, Morgan?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Well, we first met you at Melalani, like I said, when you came out to the open mic with your family, and you were 11 at the time. And how old were you when you first started to play?
I mean, I think I was around 8 or 9.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
wow.
That's amazing.
Did you start on guitar?
Well, I guess I've been singing all my life. I started playing guitar when I think I got my first guitar when I was 8 and started lessons when I was 9.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and you had a guy who gave you lessons as well as going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. That's great. So, and why? Why'd you start?
What drew you to it?
Well, my mom, it's a funny story. I know how to play so many instruments now because my mom keeps deciding I'm going to learn how to play this instrument. So she buys it and then she never learns. Then I see it sitting there and I go, well, I'm not just going to let it sit there, and I learn how to play it. So got a djembe here from her latest. I don't know if you see it. It's right there.
Was that?
From her latest
Has she
instrument.
picked it up? Is she playing?
Yeah.
It? Okay, good.
Yeah. So
Tell her she's got an open slot at the open mic anytime she needs it.
yeah, so I started playing because my mom had a guitar that she never played. And it would sit and the case was all like open. So I would sit. I remember when I was a toddler and I would just sit and I would strum the strings.
Uh-huh.
And then once I was old enough to like get my hand around a guitar neck, my mom was like,
Right.
"Do you want to start lessons?" And I was like, "Yeah." So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Wow. So, but you know what? You know, we see kids all the time who take lessons and they go to the School of Rock and so on and so forth.
yeah,
But I remember a conversation with your dad. He just had a different idea that he was going to get you, you know, involved buying instruments and supporting you that way. But he always wanted you to go out and go
Yeah.
and do it. You know, I mean, that was really inspiring to me and should be to a lot of kids. You know, you want to accomplish something in life, well, go ahead and do it. You know?
really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how he was a very obviously I had lessons and stuff, but he wasn't very lesson focused. He was very experience focused, and I feel like that.
Yes, I got that feeling about him too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you feel that affected you as a musician and a performer?
As a musician, I guess two separate things. As a musician, I feel like I could be better as a musician because I also wasn't super lesson focused. Like I had lessons. I think I took lessons starting at like 9 up until like 14. So that's like
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ish
Uh-huh.
of lessons. So I know my way around a guitar, but I feel like I definitely could be better as a guitarist. But as a performer, I feel like it definitely helped me interact with the crowd. I know how to handle like situations, like if you have like a disruptive person in the audience, or I know how to interact with people and, you know, have a conversation instead of just sitting there and playing at them.
Right.
I feel like that it's definitely helped me do that.
I
So,
hope we helped you with that.
Yeah, you definitely
We were
did.
almost like
Yeah.
a little special project, you know. It's it's just the way we
Little
would be all the
experiment.
time. I know, right?
You know, we were always impressed with you, and you know, such amazing songwriting for somebody so young. You have such a limited life experience to draw from. What does a person your age write about?
I guess whatever comes to mind.
Like
I
anybody else?
really, I've had some rough years. A lot of it's like, good old teenage angst.
Yeah.
I'm turning, I guess I'm 18. I'll be 18 next week.
Yay!
Um,
Happy
So,
birthday.
yeah, I know. Thank you. So I guess, it's not a lot of experience with the world, but I have a lot of interpersonal experiences. Obviously, my dad passed away. I draw a lot
I'm
from
sorry.
that. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
And he always encouraged me a lot when I was writing songs. I started off
Yeah.
god awful songs. I think I still have my first songwriting notebook. They're horrible. But,
That's
he was
everybody.
always like,
Yeah.
try and keep doing it. And I remember it was a song that I'm going to play later. It's called Possibilities. And I remember playing it and he goes out and he goes, who's that? Who wrote that? And I was like, me.
Uh-huh.
And that was like my first real experience with writing a song that I really liked.
That anybody would listen to.
Yeah, that anybody would listen to. And that song was about, somebody saying they love you, but not really meaning it, I guess.
Oh, yeah, like jam.
Just kind of like using you for the affection, but not wanting an actual relationship. That's what that song's about. And then I have a lot of like coming of age sort of songs.
That makes
Sounds
sense.
like
Yeah,
you
makes
started
sense.
out-
Yeah.
Sounds like you started out like many other of us. Some of us feel like the best music we ever wrote was a time between 18 and 21. So
Yeah. Yeah, my songwriting style is a very personal thing. I feel like music to me is a very interpersonal thing. When I play a song for somebody, they're hearing my innermost thoughts. It's not just some song that I banged out in one night. It's something I worked hard to complete. And I don't play a song, I don't perform a song in front of an audience unless I'm sure that there's going to be at least one one line in that song that's going to be applicable to everyone. I don't play a song unless I think everyone's going to find something that they relate to in it.
You really have developed into a real professional musician. You really have.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing
yeah.
that you have the foresight at your age to
Yeah,
think
yeah.
you want everybody to relate to your songs. I know lots of adult songwriters
Who
that
haven't-
don't do that.
Yeah, they haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And I try to have depth. I know there was one song, it was the song I was writing for my dad, which is also on the EP. It's called Spaceman.
Oh.
That was his nickname for his dad.
Ah,
And then that was also what I associated with him. So it kind of
That's so cool.
passed on from the dads of the family.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. My grandpa was a engineer like him, but he was like mechanical. He did a lot of like welding stuff. And there was a place where they worked and nobody ever wore their welding masks because they were like big and uncomfortable. They looked like space helmets.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wore them except for my grandpa, because he was super like safety oriented and all of his coworkers would make fun of him and call him a spaceman. It's very like metaphorical with like space and stuff, you know. But there was this one line that I was obsessing over for like weeks because I couldn't get it right, because I down to every single line of myself. I don't just write a line and think, oh, that's good, and just write it down. Like I obsess over my lyrics because I'm a lyricist at heart. I'm a lyricist more than an instrumentalist. So there was this one line in the bridge, or like the outro kind of bridge, where it's called like the line is, my heels are off the ground as far as I can reach. And I wanted it to be, whatever place you are in life, you can relate to that line. And it started off as, I'm jumping off the ground as far as I can reach. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. My feet are off the ground. Well, maybe some people still have some feet are on the ground, or, you know, so I decided my heels are off the ground, because no matter what you're doing in your motion, your heels are going to be off the ground.
Right.
That can relate to any pace that you're setting. So
yeah, that's really
that's what I mean by I obsess over like being relatable in my lyrics.
Yeah. That's a number of songwriters have told us that same thing happens to them. It's the little idea that just grows and grinds until you spit it out. Yeah,
just details that nobody would think about, because I probably could have used the first line. Nobody would have batted an eye, but
Probably not.
you know, I obsess over it.
Yeah, well, that's your job. That's great. Yeah.
Well, can you play us a song?
Well, before you do, let me just ask you something. How are you doing? You know, we were so worried about you, and I'm sure it was a tough time, but you look great. You know, are you doing okay?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot better. Obviously, I had some rough patches, but I think right now I'm doing really well, you know, in my life. And I think, you know, COVID's starting to let up a bit. People in my area are getting more vaccinated. I actually get my second dose in a couple of weeks.
Hey.
So, you know, things are starting to pick back up. And I think,
wonderful.
you know,
I
I'm
look forward to seeing
moving
you.
along with it.
Very good. Play a song.
Playing a song. Okay. Well, I guess here's that song that I was just talking about. This is actually, I was working on an EP that, because of COVID, never got finished. This was supposed to be the title track. So, yeah. Tears try to fall, but they can't. I thought I knew it all, well, I don't. Thought I had you figured out, so I wouldn't let this happen again. And I thought I loved you, now I know it. But you left me so confused, showing up and letting me down. Got me working so damn hard just to not want you back around. And I've seen all your possibilities, so try and show me one that I believe. Instead, try to say what I can't. And words try to speak, but they won't. Oh no. So tell me you love me. Does it mean the same to you? Then just ignore me, but your eyes burn across the room. And you left me so confused, showing up and letting me down. Got me working so damn hard just to not want you back around. And I've seen all your possibilities. So try and show me one that I'll believe. And I know I should know better. I'll be better for you. Well, I've been told that I can do better. There's no better than you, so try to make up your mind while I sit here and waste more time. 'Cause you know I'd gladly wait through the pain. And I've seen all your possibilities. You still haven't shown me one that I believe.
Wow.
you.
Great song.
I just want to say something. Your voice, what you do with it. Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's a yell, sometimes it's a whine. It's just so expressive. And I
Thank
dare
you.
say, more than most of the people who've come through Mililani, you really have a well-developed tool there. You really do. And it's very
Yeah.
convincing. Really is. Nice job.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I really mean every word of the
I know you
songs that
do.
I'm singing.
I can tell
Yeah.
every
Yeah,
word.
and you come across
Yeah.
very believable that way. You definitely do.
Very sincere.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we know that you attend other open mics like up at Sam Ash, but do you
Yeah.
feel a young musician such as yourself has enough opportunity to go out and play? I mean, it must have been hard to find spots.
Yeah. Well, I don't personally, for me, it's not super hard for me to find gigs just because I've been doing it for so long. I've been performing since I was 10 years old. So I have almost a decade of, finding gigs. So it's all about making connections, and I've made a lot of connections.
Yeah, you have.
But young musicians in general, I do think it is harder to find places to play, especially in the open mic scene, because a lot of them are at bars and places that are
exactly.
very adult. And I'm not necessarily saying that kids aren't welcome there, but they might not feel welcome there.
That's a good point. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
So you don't see a lot of younger people playing at those types of places. So I guess it is harder it was hard when I first started out trying to find places that would even be like, oh, you're young, you're inexperienced.
Right.
They hear, I think when I was around 12, 13, people hear oh, you're 12, you're 13, you're just going to be cute and sing. And they don't actually expect you to really be good.
You were never that way.
Yeah,
but,
never that
know,
way. No, as a matter of fact, you were very powerful even when you were very young.
Yeah, I just came across a video of you actually right before the interview, and you had a lot of power even then. But you know what? That frustrates me. That whole how you're very young and inexperienced. Well, how do you think they're going to get better if you don't let them play?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I kind of have to blame the school system. They should be creating opportunity as well as just educating. So, but that's so. And it can't always be classical training. That's all well. It has its place, but I mean, you see me and Jan I'm the ear trained one, and she's the classically trained one. And in many ways, you're both of that. Because your music is very much about your ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's also about, finding people who come, because sometimes it's easier to get gigs if you're in a group, if they know that it's, so I actually, you've met Rory. I play with Rory. He's
you
my
still play with Rory?
You still play with?
partner. I do. We actually just booked some gigs for this summer once things start opening up. I think I'm not sure if he's playing with me or not. We're actually set to play at Bucksmont Pride. And some other farmers markets around. So yeah, it's also about finding somebody who complements your sound. He's a very, talented guitarist and instrumentalist, and I'm better with vocals and lyrics. So we complement each other. So
yeah. Well, the other thing that I think that you learned, that we also learned, is that when you don't have opportunity, you just create your own. You were the one who went to the place for the open mic. You talked to the owner. You said, "This is what I can do." Let's
Right, which brings us to our next question. Something that you got around some of those performance barriers by hosting your own open mic.
Exactly.
Can you
Yes,
tell us
sir.
about that and what your current projects are?
Yeah. Actually, I wasn't expecting to do that. I think I started that 4 years ago, almost
Yeah.
That
5.
sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was this little coffee shop like around my house area. And they already had an existing open mic, but they didn't have a set host. And it was kind of like a dying open mic. You would get maybe like two
Oh, I
performers
totally
in.
understand. Sure.
Yeah, it wasn't very popular. So I guess I came in and I played and I was just talking to somebody being like, yeah, I have a lot of experience with playing. And next thing I know, they're contacting me asking, hey, can you host this open mic and start bringing people in?
Uh-huh.
And that's what I did. When I went into it, my idea was there aren't a lot of places where young people go to play.
Right.
So I created one. And over the last 4 years, there's a good mix. There's, we get some older people, but it's mostly younger, like high schoolers that would come to that open mic, and they're really good. They're really good. And
And you got to
I-
let those older people in, a couple of them.
I mean, they're good
Feel
too.
good, you know.
Yeah, but so I really took that as an opportunity
was
to
great.
create an environment for younger people to come in and, show their talents. And actually, that's where I started right before COVID. I was starting to find young musicians at these open mics that would come in through, my door and play. And I thought they were good. And I would find them gigs so
Yeah.
they could actually start getting out and playing their own stuff and not just open mics.
Yeah, that's a lot of leadership, and it's great that there's someone your age that's actually risen to the occasion to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I do that now, but I certainly didn't start out when I was a
No.
teenager.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so
I
that's
think I did, but I can't remember back that far. So it's
because we know it's been many years since you've been
Yeah,
a teenager,
yeah.
sweetheart.
so,
Well, I mean, as you go off to college, you're going to Drexel, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's great.
Yeah.
What is your major?
Music industry.
Wonderful.
That's
what
my
is
theme.
that? Really? What?
It's actually I had no idea what it was when I first heard of it. Drexel's actually, I think like a couple years ago, they were rated like number 3 in the country for music industry programs.
Wow.
And it's a dual program. So you learn about audio engineering
Mhm.
and then you also learn about music business. But you
Wow.
choose your focus, I guess, or like
Okay.
specialty. So I'm going into a specialty for business, actually, which I feel like surprises a lot of people when I tell them that.
I was a little
Um,
surprised.
Yeah, I'm going in for business. I actually got accepted to their accelerated like MBA program.
Wow.
So I'll have my master's in music business.
Wow.
What we always knew that you got good grades. We always knew
Yeah.
that you were very intelligent and studious and all that kind of stuff. And I remember talking to your dad saying, "All right, so what are you going to do? Are you going to let her be a musician? Or are you going to send her off to do some real work? And pretty much he said, "Well, that's really up to her." And
That
but
was
it sounds
actually,
like you-
this program was a compromise between me and my dad because he didn't want me to go into just a music major.
yeah.
But I found this program, we both fell in love with it because
Mhm.
everybody in the program graduates also with a business minor. So I'll
Oh.
also have a business degree to fall back on if
That's
music.
That's
great.
great. Yeah. And you will be one of you'll be a famous business music leader in this area, and we'll be glad to say we knew her when.
Right. And you won't forget us, right?
That's right. Yeah. You give us a gig once in a while.
But beyond that, what do you see for the future for Morgan Alexa?
Well, obviously I'm gonna go through college. I'm gonna take all my classes. I do want to learn about audio engineering. I will be learning about that in the program. It just won't be my focus. I've actually already taken some Berklee courses with audio engineering. So I do want that aspect, but I feel like my main goal at the moment could change in the future. Nobody knows. But I think my main goal at the moment, I kind of want to go into music management, I think.
Yeah.
Which I think I started getting that idea once I started hosting the open mics.
Well, that's kind of what you were doing, right?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. And I was finding, young musicians and I was getting them gigs and stuff. And I really liked that. I would have people come up to me, and I think there was this one girl who was a regular who like would always come in. She was like a couple years younger than me and Rory. And I remember her mom would come up and be like, she talks about you guys all the time. She watches your videos all the time. She wants to be like just like you guys. And I would get so like, it just warms my heart, you know, knowing
Absolutely.
that I could. And her 16th birthday came up. And what Rory and I did was we talked to a couple of our buddies and we got her first gig.
Wow.
And I fell in love with that. Like the second I told her, I was like, hey, I got you your first like paying gig. You're gonna get paid to do this, and you can sing and you can sing your songs. And she just like was so excited, and I loved that.
You could
So
have changed her life just with that one thing. She could be on a path now that she wouldn't have thought possible because you had that intervention. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
she's really amazing too. I think she's definitely gonna go places if she decides to.
And I know you're going to go places too. And you also now know why we do it.
Yes, I
Because
do.
we love that feeling when you
Yeah.
help
That's
somebody
right.
and you make them so happy because you got them a paid gig, you know?
You-
It's
you-
just,
You start off wanting to be a rock star, and you end up realizing that it's all about the community that you get to share this stuff with. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than that, you know, as you know. So
Yeah.
well, why don't you take us out with another song?
Okay. See, this one was one of the. I think you've heard this before. I played at the last open mic. It's called Boxes, and it's kind of my coming of age song. It's actually I wrote it about my experience with like coming out, and how that felt. So it's very personal to me, but I also tried to make it personal to other people. So it's not very specifically like, oh, this is me talking about that. It could be somebody
Anything.
talking about anything, you know. That's what I really try to do with my songs. So
great.
Years old, you never know the memories you come to show from the corner of your eye. Little boys and playground toys, innocent you've ever seen. And 12 big girls and loose hung girls, you mind playing make believe. So you put it in a box in the back of your closet, anything just to shove it all down. And you lied to your mama, said she's never ever gonna have to see it come back. You heard it all. You touched the sky, never came back down. Tell me why on the mornings you could cry, but you didn't know how. You didn't know when you hear the life's a lonely road from voices you were never shown, say separate your mind. And the shepherd sheep and also weep for people stuck in trees. And the playhouse songs and children's wrongs and all hearts in between. So you put it in a box in the back of your closet and you think to shove it all down. And you lied to your mama, said she's never ever gonna have to see it come back. You heard and know. You touched the sky, never came back down. Tell me why all the mornings you could cry, but you didn't know how. You didn't know how. You didn't know how. So you told her that you loved her, your true colors deep inside, anything just to say goodbye. And you lied to her then, she kept telling you again, saying she was always right. So you put it in a box in the back of your closet, anything to shove it all down. You lied to your mama, said she's never ever gonna have to see it come back. You heard and know. You felt the clouds, you didn't want to come back down. No, and show me how Sunday nights you could drown, but you never knew how. ain't stopping now.
Woo!
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
That's inspirational. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, before we let you go, how would somebody find you and your music if they wanted to hear more of you?
Yeah, I actually my website isn't super active anymore because my dad was managing that.
Right.
So we're still figuring that out. But I have Instagram. I forget what my username is. Let me look that up real quick. I have an account just for music that I don't post on super often, but I do post on it. It is Morgan_Alexa_music. And then my personal Instagram is Morgan_Alexa11, which is where I post more frequently.
Okay.
And I have other stuff on YouTube. It's just Morgan Alexa. I was supposed to have an EP out around this time last year, but then COVID happened. I couldn't get into the studio. My producer actually got sick. So
Ooh.
yeah,
Is he
it was.
okay?
Yeah, he's all right. Actually, I think I got it from him because I
You
got
got it?
sick
Oh.
afterwards.
God.
Yeah, I got sick after because he had the whole smell thing and
God.
and then Rory and I both got sick after being in contact with him,
Oh,
and the
God.
doctors kept flip-flopping on what they thought it was
Oh boy.
because that was before COVID was really over
Right,
here.
right. We never knew that.
So I think I had it. I'm not sure if I did, but I think I did.
Okay.
So
Oh boy.
that was supposed to come out. It is still on hiatus at the moment, but I plan to get back in the studio soon to finish it.
Well, make sure you let us know when it's done so we can get it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
come
definitely
back
will
after
be.
it's done. So we
Yeah,
can help you
definitely it'll be
promote it.
on streaming platforms. It's called Possibilities. I'm not sure
Okay.
when exactly it'll come out because I still have to finish it up, but
Yeah. Well, we're
It's,
excited to hear it.
I think it was 7 tracks. It includes the 2 songs that I just sang and some other ones that might be familiar to you, but
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, thank you, Morgan, for coming out.
And not just thank you for coming out. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey with you, and for what you've done for Melilani. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed hearing you there and having you be part of that family, and we're just so blessed to have you. So thank you so much.
thank you. No, thank you. You guys really created an environment that actually really helped me grow as a
Oh,
kid,
great.
That makes us happy to
I know
hear.
Melanie and Sam Ash, I grew up
Yeah.
there. And that's where I did all of my development as a
I know we
musician.
watched you.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing to watch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yes. So.
All right.
Right.
Well, Jan, this show was definitely filled with lots of warm fuzzies.
Yes, it's an indication of just how fortunate we are. And if we haven't said it already, we wanted to thank each and every one of you, and we're honored to have you in our family.
So here's a song that I wrote for someone in my family who's got a special birthday today. Her name is Anne Louise, and she's my daughter. Anne Louise, Anne Louise, go to sleep if you please. Close your eyes, close them tight. Mommy will hold you through the night. Through the night. Anne Louise, don't you cry. Daddy will sing this lullaby. Rest in my arms, my little queen. I'll rock you softly into a dream, into a dream. Anne Louise, Anne Louise, drift away so you can play another day, another day. La da da, la da da.